Now, when you get this backwards, you totally enslave yourselves and step outside of the Orthodox Christian faith. Orthodox Christian faith is not do so you might be approved. It's love so therefore you'll do. And gosh, if you're married in here, you understand how this works. I'm gonna have lunch with my parents tomorrow. I love my folks, I really do, but my mom that was somewhat enabling, and what I mean by that is she just kind of did stuff for you where she probably should have made me. It did not prepare me well for marriage. And so my mom, I could take a shower, dry off, throw the towel on this is a historic illustration. I'd throw the towel on the ground and just kind of go on about life. And mom would pick up the towel and she'd wash the towel and she'd fold the towel and she'd put the towel back up. And then when I got married, Lauren would ask questions like this. She'd go, hey, honey, can you come here? And I would come into the bathroom and she would go, what's that? Now, guys, if you're newly married, that's a trap. All right, she's not asking literally like what that is. Like she doesn't know that that's a towel. Right? So Lauren would go, hey, what's that? Well, I'm an idiot. I'm like, a towel? She's like, no. I mean, why? I know that's a towel, sweetie. Why is the towel on the ground? What do you mean? You're like, surely you're not that dumb. And I'm telling you, I was that dumb. And so it was literally Lauren that was like, no, this is what we do, right? When we're done with our towel, we hang it on this hook, all right? And then if we're not gonna, if we've used it a couple times, we're gonna put it in this basket. This basket is called a hamper, all right? You're gonna put your stuff in this. That chair is not a hamper. This thing that I've put at the bottom of our bed is for the 62 pillows I put on our bed, not for your clothes. That was a bit passive aggressive, all right? And I understand that. She's not gonna hear this sermon this weekend, I don't believe, so I feel safe, hoping she won't podcast. And so in the middle of all that, this is how I'm trained. Now, over the years, I can tell, I wish she would hear this. I hang up my towel every time now. Every time. Wow, that's cheap applause, that's cheap. And a little patronizing. Like, he can learn. It's like, wow. So let me kind of describe the process. I don't get out of the shower and dry off and go, oh, you know what? Just don't really feel in love with Lauren right now. She's kind of, to be honest with you, she's been a bit stressed out lately, which then in turn stresses me out. Gosh, you know what? You know what'll jumpstart my love for her? If I hang up this towel. Oh, there it is. I hung up that. I'm just crazy in love with Lauren now. I hung up that. That's not how it works. It's not how it works. It's actually my love for her that drives that simple activity of hanging up the towel or putting my clothes in the hamper. And hear me, it was imperfectly executed for a long time. And I might have grown in those areas, but I got a slew of other things she's been asking me to do for our 18 years together. And I'm still like, what is it? It's my coffee cup, I'm still like, wait, just tell me what to do. Will you just tell me what to do? Well, I want you to want to do it. Well, I don't, so just tell me, help us. Just tell me, just make it simple. All right, give me a coloring book of a guy carrying his cup to the kitchen and I'll be able to do that, right? And so what we see happening in this power to love, what we see happening in this back part, these last couple of verses, is that what I'm called to is to work on and to grow in my love for Jesus Christ. And that in turn will affect my obedience. Not to work on my obedience in order to love, but grow in my love so it'll straighten out my disobedience. So what does that mean? Well, I'll unpack. Again, this is historic stuff for us. If you're a villager, this stuff should be like top of mind. I think what this means for Christians is that we want to fill our lives with things that stir our affections for Jesus. That's bottom line. I want to fill my life with stuff that stirs up my affections for Jesus. And simultaneously, I want to cut out of my life anything that robs me of those affections. Because if I'm first called to love Jesus, and then in loving Christ, if that straightens the crooked paths, then the best way to spend my energy, my time, and my efforts is not trying not to do bad things, but rather giving myself over to a growing love for Jesus Christ. And so I think a good right exercise for you would be to spend time paying attention to what stirs your affections for Jesus and what robs you of that affection, right? So that you would have a working knowledge of how God has wired you. You would have a working knowledge of how God wired you, because what I'm convinced of is for all of us, that involves the Word of God and that involves prayer. And then outside of that, we're all over the map. We're all over the map outside of that. Like, I really like early mornings. I know tons of people like, that's devil time. I don't stir my affection for the Lord. You know what stirs my affections? 1 in the afternoon. That's what stirs my affections. Or, to be honest, some people are night people, man. They just really love the night. I do not love the night. I want to be in my second round of REM by about 9:30, all right? That's my desire. I rarely, if ever, get that, but perfect world, I'm having an awesome dream at 9:30, which means I'm deep in, and then I'll get up at 5:30 or 6, and we'll be quiet, and it'll just be me and the Lord. So early mornings, they stir my affections for Jesus Christ. Like, isn't that weird? I can't point you to the Bible. You better get up at 6. I can't, but I can tell you how I'm wired. That everything about my mindset and my heart set is right if I get up before the kids and before anybody else and just lay my day before the Lord and say, help me be aware of you. That stirs my affections for Jesus. My closest friends stir my affections for Jesus. Not all of my friends, but my closest friends stir my affections for Jesus. Epic stories and narratives stir my affections for Jesus. Good music stirs my affections for Jesus, right? These are things that they just stir me, and then there are certain things that rob me of my affections for Jesus, right? Like, I've said this over and over again. Like, I can't watch too much TV. I don't think TV's the demon box, and if you watch a lot of TV, you're gonna do meth and kill your parents. I don't think that's true, but I will tell you that if I watch too much of it, I become really numb to dark things. I begin to be amused by what breaks the heart of God, and I don't want to put myself in that position. I lose empathy, I lose compassion, and so I want to be careful about what I watch for entertainment. I can't, as silly as this sounds, follow sports too closely because I start to really, really care in an unhealthy way. Now, maybe you can care in a way that's healthy. I simply can't, so I need to stay at a distance. And so I love sports, and that's why I have to watch it, right? Because I can all of a sudden out of nowhere be emotionally affected by what a boy does with a ball. Like, surely that can't be right. Surely that can't be right. For me to have my day ruined because a 22-year-old dropped a ball, or because a guy hit a half-court shot too soon, I apologize. Like, I shouldn't have done that. Don't clap. I shouldn't have done that. I won't do that in the other services. And well, I guess I will. And so ultimately, like, I care too. So I've got to just be careful. It's not that I don't watch. It's that I pay attention to my heart. Do I care too much? Am I getting sucked in too deep? To work on growing my capacity to love the Lord empowers and fuels my obedience. See, it's the power to love that being positioned in his presence kind of fuels and drives our obedience and our transformation to look more and more and more like Jesus Christ. And all of that hinges on Jesus being what we could not be and becoming what we could not become and accomplishing what we could not accomplish. And so if you're here and you're like, man, I am just exhausted trying to be more and do better and do the right thing. Gosh, I don't even know what the right thing is. Let me just lay this before you. Christ has become what you cannot become. Christ has done what you will never be able to do.